Bonjour, and welcome to another edition of Flick of the Week. This episode is brought to you by Film Buff Apparel, a clothing brand made for filmmakers by filmmakers, and 100% of the profits go to making indie film projects. So, support the film scene, dude. Bro, girls, guys, everybody, buy a shirt. FilmBuffApparel.com. What's on the chopping block tonight? We got The Walk, Knock Knock, and Pan. But unfortunately, none of us completed our homework, so Neverland is, well, never going to happen. For this episode, at least. But we do have a great show for you tonight, so buckle your seatbelts, because this podcast is in 3D.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I'm the dude.
What is it?
It's the one that said bad motherfucker.
Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
We're sending you back to the future!
Boy, do we have a doozy tonight. Say Jesus.
Don't drop that. Yeah, you're already doozying.
Okay, so here's the deal, people. Neither of us, we never went to Neverland. We never got at it. We nevered.
We didn't go to Neverland Ranch, and we both never got to watch Pan. So one's a win, one's might probably not be a win. But
so, that leaves our show down to two movies. We're talking about The Walk, and we're talking about Knock Knock. But it's interesting because we only have two movies, and there's only two of us in the room.
So only one can leave the room.
Cue the cicadas. There's nobody here. We're all alone. So I grabbed myself the gooniest Goonie coin.
It has a skull and some swords on it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take a picture, and this will be, if you're looking at this on iTunes or any player, this will be the episode artwork. So you'll see the Goonies coin.
There we go.
This coin is going to depict which movie we're going to watch, or not watch, we both watched our movies, but which movie we're going to talk about first. By the way, an interesting thing that we didn't talk about publicly to you guys yet is, and it's a great idea of Nick's, is basically we're going to, from here on out, us and the guests, or the guests and us, and or whatever you want to say, we are all going to see we're going to see individual movies ourselves.
New format,
rolling it in. Beep, beep.
Backing it up.
Backing it up. I don't know. But I went and saw The Walk. Nick saw Knock Knock. I pulled out my cock. That wasn't as funny as I thought it would be.
That had a rhyme. You were there. Flip the
coin. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna flip the coin. We're actually. I think we're incorporating a segment. We're starting to be like the late night show.
That's right.
Flip the coin. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Something, yeah, we need a little kazoo
like Wayne's
or
World.
Something. Party time, excellent.
Whoa,
so what is this coin? This coin is just going to tell us which one we're going to tell first?
The funny thing about this coin is that it's double-sided. It's the same on both sides. It's very Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent. I believed in Harvey Dent, by the way.
Oh, well.
Fun fact.
I saw it coming from a mile away. Well, it's probably because I read the comics, but
and watched the other movie.
but the only depiction on the difference of the sides is not really a burn mark because Rachel died, but a little stain. Looks like gum. But
That's
I don't know.
Sat in the bottom of somebody's pocket.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that I take a picture of this side so you guys can see
Never
the little
OxyClean
spot.
That. There we go.
Now I'm gonna leave it as it is.
So we're gonna flip the coin.
So
and
we're
talk
gonna
about
flip the
what
coin.
we've been watching this week.
So are we gonna call it in the air like football?
Sure.
All right. So
what counts as heads? The burn mark.
I guess so.
Okay, I'll take heads.
You're taking head.
Well,
oh,
that's not in the air.
I guess we called it.
All right. Well,
I think it's better. So you called it.
Okay.
Heads is knock knock. Tails is the walk. And
there we go.
Let's stay quiet so you can hear the nice sound. What's it gonna be, people? Oh.
Tails.
Tails.
All right.
All right. I'm excited. I am genuinely... Okay, so...
But first of all, let's talk about what we've been watching this week, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
We can't disappoint the fans
Yeah,
with
I got
our
so
intro.
excited about this coin flip that I forgot. Okay, people, I want to... Let's
me being a good co-host, is what that is.
Let's wind the clocks back a year.
A minute.
3 minutes. No, let's start the show the right way. The only way that Flick of the Week starts is let's talk about what we've been watching. Nick, take it away.
What I watched was the season finale of what I just found out is the most watched first season of show ever, Fear the Walking Dead. Now, I'm a pretty big fan of Walking Dead. I mean, lately, as I'm sure a lot of other people are, the Walking Dead kind of got pretty sour there. The last couple seasons, I mean, it ended strong, but the season before that, they killed like a total of 3 zombies, and we watched them walk down the tracks, down fields, down... Mm-hmm. It was like Lord of the Rings without any point to the end.
He never got rid of the ring.
Fear of the Walking Dead is really cool because in Walking Dead, everybody but Rick already knows what's going on. Like, they know what to do.
Yeah.
You kill the zombie, and that's it. In this show, it's before Rick, and the virus just breaks out. And it's really crazy because cops start shooting people, and it, like, really plays out, like, to modern times because, like, right now, like, there's all those scares of, like, cops shooting people for no reason. Mm-hmm. Are they or are they not? And in this show, they're not because they're really zombies, but the rest of the public thinks they are. So, zombie lives matter, people. I'm telling you.
That'd be funny. I mean, I haven't watched the show, but that'd be funny if, like there's, like, a cop that totally gets it. He's like, holy shit, fucking zombies! And he, like, pulls out his gun and he's just shooting random people walking up to him.
That's exactly what happens. And people are filming it, and they don't know that they're zombies.
They're just like, oh, this is great for YouTube.
They're like, look at this cop shooting this helpless, weird guy with one arm. Damn, these amputee-hating bastards.
Just shooting veterans.
Exactly. And, like, I think they're outside the VA in one episode doing that, and it's... Anyway, that's what I watched. What did you watch?
Oh my god. Okay, so I watched so much stuff lately. Like, and it's surprising because I've been so busy with work this last week, but I've managed to just replace sleep with watching a bunch of movies. But I'd say that the top things...
True cinephile,
yeah. I was up till like 4 a.m. because I had the bug, I had the itch. Mm-hmm. You know, that's really what led me to starting the show, is this exact
happens.
feeling. But I watched let's see, I watched the River Wild, which I told you to watch.
That's right. Okay. Well, I watched that too, obviously.
And then I watched what? I watched The Rock because in the last episode we were talking about the Sean Connery and
was Sean Connery one of his best movies, if not the? I don't know. I mean, frankly, I would go with Indiana Jones, but The Rock is a close second.
And then I watched like 3 Bourne movies. I think I watched most of the good Bourne movies. 4.
That's
not
all
the new one.
What do you think about the new idea that Jeremy Renner and Matt Damon will be in the next one?
I'm stoked. I saw that one photo. Born what?
Well, my unofficial title, Borning It Up.
Borning It Up? I think it's just Born Again.
Born Duo Identity, something like that.
Yeah.
Better title, obviously, by better writers.
But
I did not like that one with Jeremy Renner, I gotta say.
It was... Here's the biggest problem.
Oscar Isaac, though. That's weird how the tiny little character is the best actor in the whole damn movie.
The biggest problem with that is that they didn't do the fans the service of seeing, like, Jason Bourne once. Like, if he was in it once, I would have been fine.
Well, yeah, they just scrolled it up, and it's like, Jason Bourne was here back in, I don't know, Boy Scouts or whatever, in that weird scene. Mm-hmm. But he didn't act in that movie. He didn't... Did Jeremy Renner
Renner?
I didn't feel like he really did.
That's the problem. Well, here it's a tough role to play, and that's why
But that's the thing. He had a chance to do something new and be like, who knows, a crazy born of anything. And
was he? I forget. Was he?
Bland.
Was he an agent of what is that program called?
he was like another agent, and that's why they call it the Legacy, because
man, what is that thing called? That's
the Treadstone.
Treadstone,
or whatever.
Yeah. So he was an agent of Treadstone. Treadstone fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: that the reason why Matt Damon is so good as Jason Bourne, and is the same reason why he's, and what I had not realized until I watched The Martian the other day, is that Jason Bourne, Matt Damon, he is typecast to hell.
Matt Damon is?
Yeah.
He
is so typecast. He's either the incredibly technological genius, or he's not technological genius. I
thought you were gonna go a different direction with this. I thought you were gonna be like, he always needs to be saved.
No, that's the other one.
Okay.
He either always needs to be saved, or he's a specialist, and he's like a robotic like badass specialist, or he's both in the case of The Martian.
I was thinking of Courage Under Fire, Rounders. Those don't fall into that.
No, but
Stuck on You, that Jim.
But like Talented Mr. Ripley,
that's typecasted.
He's like a specialist.
I guess
he's always plays like these calculated specialist type characters. Who's like in his mind.
You know, you're right. What was that one where he was the Good Shepherd? That was kind of the one that falls in there. Yeah. And the Informant, though, that's a totally different guy.
Yes.
I mean,
so, but like there are exceptions to the rule. But I'm saying like
behind
if
the candelabra, when
he was a specialist,
he was dealing with the Michael Douglas's candelabra. Liberace.
But there's exceptions, but at the same time, if you look at his career in retrospect and you look at like what stands out as like his big successes, obviously the government is spending too much money rescuing Matt Damon.
Yeah. They sent out a whole freaking team squad for one guy.
They should have just left him in Germany.
Nowadays, they would just like negotiate for him or something. They should have just left him in Germany. Well, good talk, Matt Damon.
Good talk. Yeah, how did that all went from talking
Bourne.
about everything, very specifically down to Matt Damon.
Yep.
I love Matt Damon though. I love Rounders.
That's one of my
if there's anything
movies,
that's like our top talk in this show so far, it's been Matt Damon. He comes around. We should just have Matt Damon on the show.
What's his next movie? Another Bourne? I'm trying to think.
He's well, I know for sure he's in the Bourne movie. I'm pulling it up real quick.
Elysium, he was no specialist. They pulled him off the street and then they strapped an exoskeleton on him. You see, and somehow he knew how to fight. That was kind of what got me, like, because everybody's like, oh, "Hey, he can fight! Wow, look at that."
Interesting. Well, I haven't seen Elysium, so
you've never seen it?
No, I want to see it.
That's Neil Blomkamp.
It just looked so weird to me.
It is. That's why Neil Blomkamp is getting the next Alien movie, because he's like not afraid to take those kind of risks.
Interesting. You see, Elysium, for some reason, I'm turned off to those types of movies that remind me of District 9. Because District 9 got me so excited. It was the same guy? Yeah. Okay. I guess he just has a style.
He has this weird South African, weird sci-fi thing going for him.
Are they going to give him like...
They gave him the next Alien, and because Sigourney Weaver was such a fan of his, she came out of the woodwork. She was like, I'm going to be Ripley again.
Really?
That doesn't happen.
I mean, well, I don't know. For some reason, that movie looks so cool, District 9. And I want to bring this up again, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if we talked about it in the past episode, or if I took it out, if it got cut, but District 9 I got so excited to see that movie, and then I was so disappointed when I saw it. I was
the
like,
end or the whole thing?
The whole thing. I was fighting to
Really?
to keep my attention.
I was interested. The ending, I could see how some people would be like, "Mah."
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess I'm just not into action. I'm not into alien movies unless it's like Independence Day. I love Independence
I'm really
Day.
afraid of that sequel. Coming
And that's
out next
another
year.
thing is that I went when I went and saw The Walk. I saw
Did they have a trailer? No way.
No.
Oh.
That's the thing is that I saw a trailer that was like that I thought was
Independence
Day 2, and I was
Resurgence.
like creaming him. I was like, "Oh man!" And then it was like the chick from Kick-Ass.
Chloe Grace
Yeah,
Moretz.
season something new. Or
Oh, is that the one where they're like little kid soldiers or something?
yeah, it's called the Fifth Wave.
Don't really want to watch that
But
one.
I was just like, what the fuck? When that title hit, because I could have swore at first when it, how almost every movie trailer now is like it's always this like
In a
establishing,
world.
and you see like this alien ship come over. It's like in a world, and then there's like sirens, and then people are like, you gotta get out of here, they're clearing the area.
That's how both Avengers movies in the trailers were like, oh shit, you guys are fucked, and then like the Avenger will be like, no, we're not.
Yeah. Cue witty punchline here.
But they always start off with like the third act in the trailer, and it's just like everything's torn apart.
So,
and
could you say that the Avengers movies literally have punchlines?
if we could,
Because they're like, not today!
spoken just like Josh Whedon, exactly.
Oh, man. But, the Fifth Wave, F that.
That looks like a $1 movie
But-
rental.
I'm glad that I paid attention to see the title, because what happened is I was so excited when I saw like the ships coming overhead, and they kind of totally ripped off Independence Day, like the shadow of the giant ship, and people going, "Oh fuck!" And
Not
then,
again.
And yeah, not again. And they even said they're like they came back kind of thing, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Sequel. And then I got disappointed throughout the trailer because it was her and a bunch of young dudes like you're gonna have to learn how to punch and like all this stupid stuff. But then I saw the title, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not. There's still hope for Independence Day 2.
I think we're all kind of like blinded by its awesomeness, blowing stuff up. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't they beat the mothership by just giving it Windows 10? Like, it's like a weird. They just software update it, and then they don't know what to do. And they have to reboot, pretty much. They have to tear down the shields.
That would be funny.
And then now, like, they have Windows 11, and we don't yet. And I don't know what their plot's going to be. But Liam Hemsworth, isn't it? There's that.
Yeah.
No Will Smith, though.
No Will Smith?
That's what I hear. Goldblum. We get Goldblum, though.
They got Goldblum?
Uh-huh.
Fucking A.
And we
I
get
love
Pullman.
Goldblum.
You think Pullman will be president? I don't think it will.
You
He could be
can't-
vice president, though.
That would be... Wait, Bill Pullman? Is that his name?
Yeah.
If he was president last time, that was like 1992, 93.
Didn't Roosevelt become president like twice like that, I think?
Someone else?
If I remember American history.
That would just be a long shot. If it's like, he's back to be
Well, that's
president
what I'm saying. Like, he
again.
could be vice president. You know, that's a possibility. And then the president dies, and they're like, get him in a jet again.
I feel like he would be like just some old retired like.
If I
Bill,
hear
like,
an awesome speech, I don't care how
It's
bad
gotta
the
be-
movie is,
yeah.
it'll be so sick. You just, here we are, the darkest of the night. It's our Independence Day.
I love that movie, man. I can't get enough of that. But anyways, going back. No, not going back. Why are we gonna go back?
Going forward.
Going forward. Yeah. Let's move forward to The Walk, people.
Okay.
So, The Walk is it's based on a true story. It's about a guy, a very short man.
Was his accent good or did it break? Because I'm always afraid when I see an American go like, oh, I'm a French guy this whole movie.
I'm going to hang a haywire across the Twin Towers.
But I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt kind of, in the trailer, looked like he was pulling it off.
That's the interesting thing, because when I watched the trailer, I was incredibly excited for everything about it, except for the fact that it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing.
I like
I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but
maybe not as Robin. But
I
go
could
ahead.
see, like, I can't think of their names, but I could see, like, 5 other actors that are big enough in stature and that are from other countries that could take on that role
I was
in a
thinking,
better way.
what's his name? Vincent something. He was the guy from Ocean's 12, that French guy. Remember him?
Yeah,
He's
that's
in a
who I
lot of-
thought, too. That was one of my first thoughts.
Can't remember his last name for the life of me, but he's in a lot of movies.
But what
he's kind of old, though.
What really made it interesting, or what made Joseph Gordon-Levitt win that role, is that he's doing everything. He's really tightrope
Did he
walking,
really like
and
go to a
he's-
circus and like try to learn this?
Yeah,
And-
he's.
okay.
I was watching all this behind the scenes stuff, and he's like juggling crazy shit. He's riding the.
Really?
He's riding the unicycle around.
He
giving
was
people
riding the
high-
unicycle?
He's juggling and riding a unicycle at the same time. Like
That's nuts.
that's cool. So I was
Wow.
like, you fucking earned it, dude.
There
Like,
you go.
high five, Joe. But he's an irregular Joe because he does everything. And I love, by the way, I love Hit Record.
I like Hit Record too. They
Yeah.
just put the first season like a couple weeks ago on
On
Netflix.
Netflix,
I
yeah.
love it. I was watching it
Yeah.
on the thing too though, and lately he's just become. He was like always in like good little things ever since Angels in the Outfield. You know.
Yeah.
And he was like here and there. Brick was great, but like before that he hadn't been in much. And Mysterious Skin.
I've never seen that.
That's a good one. It's on Hulu. Check it
Okay.
out.
Quick ad.
But he's real good friends with that Ryan Johnson guy who made Brick and Looper, and now
Yeah.
episode 8, I believe, of Star Wars.
He's gonna be in.
He's
in
going to be
Star
the
Wars?
director.
Who?
That's what I heard. Ryan Johnson.
Oh,
The
okay.
director
I was
of
gonna
it.
say Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Well, maybe
Holy
maybe that stuff's gonna happen.
If
I
he's
heard that
in it,
Benicio
that'd be
del Toro
cool,
will be the villain, but that's the thing. You get your friends in the movie, and I'm if Joseph Gordon-Levitt was a Jedi or something, that'd be so sick,
Juggling. He'd be on a unicycle juggling lightsabers. That'd be
right? Joseph
insane.
Gordon lightsaber.
Joseph
That's
Gordon
right.
lightsaber. But here's the deal. When I saw the trailer, I was like, I love this concept, and I love everything Robert Zemeckis does.
Yeah,
Every movie he's
true.
ever made.
Let's name some off. Go. Forrest Gump.
Castaway,
Flight.
Back to the Future,
Polar Express.
Real Steel. Well, that was a
He
producer.
didn't make Real Steel.
He did.
No, he didn't. That
He
was
was
the
the
guy
producer.
that did. Oh, okay.
I
was gonna say it was the guy who made Cheaper by the Dozen. I think who made
that was a hasty IMDb read. I didn't realize I was
did
in
it
producers.
from my mind. You're a cheater.
You're. I am cheating for the sake of speed on this on the podcast. I mean, people don't want to listen to us breathe. But he directed Beowulf,
He did.
Polar
I
Express.
know. Yeah. See, I was right.
What Lies
I didn't-
Beneath? You said Polar Express.
I
Okay.
love What Lies Beneath, but I only love it
Damn
once. You know, after you see the end,
Oh,
you're like, okay.
I have to bring up I another movie that I did watch, and I watched it turned into 2 movies. And they both came out on Netflix this week. Is Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Boogie
had to
Nights.
watch 2001: A Space Odyssey right after it. So
Oh, really?
that was like that was my whole night's sleep.
I thought you were
that
gonna say
night.
Boogie Nights because you were talking about Boogie Nights. That just came out the same day.
I saw that on Netflix, but I've seen that a million times, and I love it. But
I actually just
Maybe next
watched
week.
2001: Space Odyssey for the first time last month. I don't know why it took me this long to watch it.
really,
And I heard that there was like a whole conspiracy that because that was such a good movie that they thought that Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing. And I was like, I could see why they would think that. I mean, he
Yeah.
did do a pretty good job.
the stuff on the moon was very accurate looking.
When was that made? 70s? I think?
60s.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
65.
Really?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna look it up for the sake of 2001, 68.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was close. All right.
So, but anyways, without trailing off again.
He didn't make Robert Zemeckis. He didn't make all the Back to the Futures, did he?
Yeah.
Did he really?
Director
Okay.
of all 3,
Wow.
I believe so. Let me make sure before.
I think he produced Poltergeist
Yeah.
too, if I'm not mistaken.
Director of all 3, and did he produce Poltergeist? I don't see that on the list.
I could be off. I've been wrong before.
fucking
Not too
wrong.
often.
And for that, I wish I have the Austin Pat or the Dr. Evil button.
The button.
Ah, I'm very badly burned.
My leg.
My leg. But so going back to the walk, I
saw the documentary.
Yeah.
Man on a Wire.
Yeah, and I've seen that too, and that was the idea of our new format for the show, is that I was gonna go see a movie and Nick was gonna go see a movie, and we were going to
Do
homework on each other's projects, however that may be. So in the case of these two movies, Knock Knock and The Walk, I did homework. My homework was to watch what Knock Knock was based off of, and Nick was supposed to watch what the documentary about what The Walk was based off of.
That was great. Like that guy was just insane, man. The
Felipe?
real guy, yeah, Felipe. He was. I think there was like a scene where, like, for his birthday, he would go to a cliff, put a chair on another chair, and be like balancing two legs.
Yeah.
And just hanging off a cliff for his birthday. Like, oh yeah, look at me. I'm 68 this year. And who does that, man? Even when in his old age, he was still just like Knievel, you know?
Yeah. Well, okay, on the subject though about how I felt about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because I thought, we're in for a distraction for the whole movie because of the accent. But like the first 20 minutes, once it got through the exposition, which was, by the way, this isn't really a spoiler because it's just a true fact. I mean, it's a true story. Get over it, people. Yeah. But he's like sitting in his dentist office. He had a toothache, and he saw a magazine with the Twin Towers on it. He's like, what? Grabbed it. He grabbed like and he's like, I shall hang my wire here, you know, like, and he freaked out. And by that point,
he's in France at this point, and he sees that, and he decides to come to America to try this out.
Yeah.
Wow.
He never been to America before.
Oh wow. Okay.
So and there's actually a lot of interesting stuff that they left out of the movie that in the documentary you see is like he did a tightrope on many places in preparation for this.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. He was like doing a whole bunch of stuff.
One of the biggest ones was actually in Sydney, Australia. He did one across the big bridge near what that big cathedral thing?
Sydney Opera House.
Yeah, the Opera House. Yeah, so he did one over there. And it was just as big of a deal, not as high, obviously, because nothing's as high at the time.
Was it as long, though? Was that what he was trying to do? Was just, like, get the distance?
Because his very, very first one, which got him, when he did the rope across the Notre Dame in France, in Paris, he got the itch. He was like, this is cool. Like, people love this. And then in preparation, which, by the way, they, if there's one thing I could say about the movie that wasn't really portrayed that well, was the time frame. It was like 6-year span.
Oh,
in the
really?
Real life. Yeah. He saw the picture and he's like, this is my life
movie,
mission.
This goes over 6 years?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So, but he saw this picture when the buildings were being built. Like, they weren't even like 10 stories off the ground yet. And they were getting built.
No
so
kidding.
he planned this before the buildings existed.
Such great freaking CGI, by the way.
To
recreate the Twin Towers and make this movie.
And not for a single second did I think that I was looking at CGI.
Yeah.
And here's the cool thing is usually when I see this stuff and I look at it and I go, there's
tell.
no way.
It looks always like kind of cartoon, especially with like water. Like
it's kind of jelly.
What was that one?
Like
With Christian Bale and he's Moses, Gods and Kings.
Exodus.
That one. Yeah. And you see the wave. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
This looks like it was filmed in my bedroom, and somebody's like, go.
It's like a really bad Windows like desktop screensaver.
Exactly.
But usually when I see a big movie like this, I get too excited and I watch the behind the scenes stuff before I ever get a chance to go see the movie, and it ruins that allure, the illusion. So But I didn't do it this time. I'd just been busy. So when I went and saw the movie, not a single second went by that had made me think, oh, I'm looking at CGI. But I knew in my mind, I'm like, for sure that this couldn't, obviously, the Twin Towers don't exist anymore. Right. And 90% of this is, by the way, I before I go any further, I have to say I saw it in 3D.
Yes.
And there is no other way.
Was it?
Please, if you see this movie, there is no other way to see it.
Because you know that I have a big distaste for 3D because most movies will have one scene or two, and you paid for those, come on.
This movie, and I've said this about Titanic, and I will continue to say this, Titanic, well before the 3D buzz, was made unintentionally for 3D.
Right.
And if you think about when you watch Titanic, even before I don't know if anyone saw it.
My point of view, though, is it only the end that's really 3D? What else is
Titanic?
Yeah.
Well, when I watched it, they re-released it.
Like what? I'm trying to think of what could.
Everything is designed because Cameron wanted to portray the scale of the ship, so he always thought of shots in terms of how are we going to make you understand the scale. And so that's the same thought unintentionally when you tackle a movie with the thought from the beginning, this is going to be a 3D movie, how can we do it to explain scale? And so he did that unintentionally. So when I went and saw the re-release in 3D, I was like, oh my God, I'm fucking hanging over the ship. I get dizzy, And they did it many times. They did it like just in weird ways.
Yeah.
Like even the spitting scene, they would pull the camera up high enough so that he's like hawking a loogie, and you see the water and you feel it.
Okay, I can hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else? I'll say it again too. Avatar. I saw that on a date, and I normally don't like to go see 3D. Like I really just don't like to pay the $3 because I'm more disappointed than not when I do that. But this time, man, Avatar. Everything in that jungle, especially because none of that's there. Yeah. So it's really cool because, one, it's there for you, and two, it's made for 3D. And then the whole war scene at the end was just awesome. And I watched it on DVD when it came out, and I was like, man, that was way cooler. Like,
by the way, if you want to get a really interesting perspective on Avatar, because none of that is real. None of the jungle is real. So if you want to...
It's just a video game is what it is.
But it's so believable. Yeah. But the interesting thing about it is you take a lot of that for granted, even when you watch something like that. But take that movie and put it on mute and think of all the sound that happens when objects are being hit, especially when Sully is like... Jake Sully's getting... I call him Sully. He's getting chased in his Avatar suit by the big, like, puma thing.
Right.
That scene, in film school, they would give you that scene and in mute with no sound. And the only thing you have is their voices. The characters, like, screaming and yelling at each other. And you have to populate the scene with all of the noise. That gives you a whole new, like appreciation for the process of movies like that. Foley artists are amazing.
That's
especially
true.
for that. But going back to 3D and the walk.
So what? Yeah, see, because me going in, I assume that would be one of the ones where there's like one thing in 3D. So
in the walk?
Yeah. I mean, from the trailer, you gotta see it from my point of view. Like when he's on the wire, but the other 2 hours is he on the wire in 3D? So what else?
I totally agree with you. Yeah. That's how I felt. But as soon as the movie started, I was like, the first thing, and I'm going to try so hard not to do these spoilers, but the first thing I saw, I was like, I totally get it. I knew I had like a gut feeling when I went to go buy the tickets, because I bought the ticket. Here's the interesting thing.
I'm going to go see this tomorrow.
This was last night.
This is awesome.
I went to buy the tickets, and I was like, 2 for, because I brought my girlfriend, I was like, 2 for the walk at 7. And then started to walk towards the door, and I was like, something is missing here. I started to walk the tightrope, but no, something is missing in my hand, and I'm like, oh, dude,
glasses.
3D. I was like, became a blubbering idiot to the 3D.
And then your girlfriend's like, he's special.
Yeah. So I got marked up, and I was like, God damn, so expensive. But anyways, that's why you should buy a shirt, people. But anyways, I got the glasses. I knew it was like lingering in my head, like this there's something this has to be seen in 3D, you know, because I wouldn't put
can
it
you
past.
elaborate on that more? Like, what is in 3D?
I'm gonna get.
Is there a lot of landscape buildings and like?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, first of all, I hope this isn't spoiling any. No, this is actually This is a good spoiler for people. Mm-hmm. It's not really a spoiler.
If you don't just tell me like, oh, he died at the end, I don't think it's like. Well, we can't give a
obviously,
review without talking about it.
He didn't
bit.
die at the end because the guy's fucking alive and around.
I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't. That's the only thing that would really throw people off.
But the third act, the entire third act of the movie, takes place with him on top of the Twin Towers. He's on the top. So
that's where you get.
So the majority of the best part of the movie is constantly dizzying heights.
So I can see how that's like 3D, because like you see the wire and then the 3D like makes you look like you're looking down from like the stratosphere of a building.
It's insane. I literally was grabbing onto my seat like I'm slipping. I'm feeling it.
Was it from just overhead? Like you can
You're
looking down.
All sorts of ways that like the trick of the eye to make you feel and understand the depth.
I see.
And that's the thing why I say go see this in 3D, because I saw the documentary and just the thought of it when someone says, oh, it's 410 meters up, it's 120 stories high or whatever, and you're standing on a cord less than an inch in diameter.
Yeah, it's like maybe 2 quarters, pretty much. Yeah. And
the factors that go into it, it's just crazy to me. But and you're dealing with the building swaying and the wind.
Oh, they throw all that at you.
That's all really happening. Yeah.
So it really feels like an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience.
You feel like you're the guy.
Mm-hmm. But if you know anything about Robert Zemeckis and how he tells stories, it's like this crazy poetic combination of the real events that are happening and the way that the whole life of this character led up to this moment, and how his like emotions and his internal struggle, like he's literally finding his balance, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and it
all plays into.
It's
that
not
3D.
really a spoiler because I haven't seen the movie and I'm smart enough to notice this from the trailer, but he steps on a nail at one point, and then it shows him on the wire with like a hole in his foot. Mm-hmm. That's just crazy. I don't know why I remember that in the documentary.
Yeah, in the whole movie is basically like, you know, in life with anyone and anything you want to do, you face like incredible odds. Mm-hmm. Everyone's saying you can't do it, it's impossible. And that's what this movie's about. Is everything is keeping him from fulfilling his dream, which is an impossible dream if you can imagine. The thought that you would do such an elaborate thing.
I wouldn't.
And yeah. Just the idea that you're getting just to set the cord up, it baffled the construction workers. They were like, how the fuck did they do that?
Wow, there's a wire there.
There's a wire, yeah.
Were they hanging laundry? What's going on here?
Yeah, because most people would assume that, like, how did you do that? You like ran, like you dangled it down the building and someone climbed up the side of the other one or something.
A hook or
But the whole story is like a metaphor for life, for people overcoming their odds. And one of the interesting things is that once he finally was on the wire, and that was the majority of the third act, he's triumphed. What's funny is that his intention.
Man, he turns characters. I'm thinking Castaway. I'm thinking Flight. I love those movies. Mm-hmm. Flight, I love a little bit more because it's like the guy. I like the character more than because he is an alcohol. He hits more rock bottom than Tom Hanks. Really, Tom Hanks is facing loneliness, but this guy's facing a disease. Really, alcoholism. And the fact that, you know, he's pushed away his whole family. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of gets family through friends and through his own redemption.
That's what's cool about Zemeckis. He always, I mean, didn't he do Forrest Gump too?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we didn't put that in the list. But
I did.
He definitely, you did?
First one.
Sorry.
Pay attention.
I'm too hot on the walk. But
yeah, that's obviously a story of insurmountable odds.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But he always finds a way to really make you connect with the human aspect of a character. That's really what.
Yeah, you know, and
happens.
like that would never happen, but everybody loves Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not smart, but he's doing all these things that people. The thing with that one is that none of it's really impossible, but he goes to all this stuff that people wanted to do, and he just does it because he doesn't have the thing in his head saying that's stupid, that's crazy. Why would I ever do that? I don't got time for that. And then in Castaway, you got the white collar guy that automatically has to turn blue collar to survive. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that they filmed that one too, because they took off for a year so he could grow a beard and lose 50 pounds.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man. Mm-hmm. There's very few movies that do that.
Yeah, except for every Christian Bale movie.
Well, that's why that guy gets paid, man.
Yeah. But the thing that I was getting at with the third act of The Walk is Felipe steps out onto the wire, and his intention, 6 years leading into this, his intention was just to walk across. Mm-hmm. That was his whole thing, is that I'm going to set this up and do one walk. So he did it. And that's the interesting thing, is that he just got across, handed off the pole, and then he sat down with his one foot on the wire again. Mm-hmm. And then he was kind of like, the wire was calling to me. And then he just like got back on.
That's crazy,
and
man.
he continued for 45 minutes. In real life, it was 45 minutes. Can you imagine, like, every minute you're out on this wire, you're increasing the odds of falling.
Anybody would be like, hurry up, but
yeah, exactly.
I made it. Not, let's do it again.
Mm-hmm. So, but what was cool is that he was so victorious, even when the cops are running up, he's just like there's different things going on. I would just hang out in the middle of the wire.
You can't touch me.
And he actually even did. There was one moment where he put the pole down on the wire.
It looks like he's like lying down on it.
He does lie down. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Awesome,
what was more crazy is that he did this thing where he sets the pole down on the wire, and then he puts his legs kind of crisscross, and then puts his knees on the pole. So he's creating like a triad on the wire, like, and he looks down and he bows to the crowd below. And the funny thing is, he says, "Number one rule of tightrope walkers is you never look down." And what did he do? He's sitting there looking down, bowing for a good amount of time.
That's so crazy. Wow.
But while he was laying down on the wire, looking up at the sky, he had like a premonition. And there was like a red-eyed bird that flew down right by his face. And he's like, now it's time for me to get off the wire. So then he got up, and then everything changed. And that's what I was saying, going into this, an experience. When you watch an experience that is created by Robert Zemeckis, it's never just a movie. Mm-hmm. It's an experience, and you are along for the ride with the character. And now he's in this whole other world in his head. But it's like this, it's kind of this illusion of reality. It's still there. The reality is there, but he's in his head now, and some things are they're more intense. Like a helicopter comes down and is like really close to him, and then his foot's really bleeding now.
You know what's really weird is like he has these endings, and I don't know, and don't spoil it for me because I'll probably watch it tomorrow. But you ever notice that like he has endings that are, when I say bad, I don't mean that the movie's bad, but for the character, they don't really work out, and then they kind of do. Mm-hmm. Forrest Gump, searching for Jenny the whole movie, finally finds her, dies, but he gets a son at the end. Flight, he's trying to get out of trouble this whole time. You know, finally he finds redemption, he's in jail, but he gets his son back. Mm-hmm. The 2 sons there. And then
Castaway.
For Castaway, his wife leaves him for the freaking guy from that Hilary Duff freaking movie.
But he ended up meeting
then he found the hot male chick lady, you know?
We just ruined every Zemeckis like classic movie. I mean, if you haven't seen those movies, like, fucking why are you listening to our show?
It's kind of funny though. It's like it's never how they planned, and never how the audience plans it to end is more important, because every single movie in the 3-act formula you see 2 people dating, or they don't like each other, but you know they're gonna get back together. Well,
the conflict happens in Act 2, and the resolution happens in Act 3. But I think that
it's weird because like he always has like these 5-minute like conflict resolution right
Yes.
at the end.
Yep. And I think that's like his secret that makes his movies so great.
It's never what you expect. That's for sure.
And that's why I said I'm not going to spoil this for you. There is an amazing story here. And going back, it's not just Act 3 that is dizzying heights. It's the whole movie. Because he's a tightrope walker.
Does it show him like doing other tight ropes
Yes,
like other
all
places?
over the
Oh, that's
place.
cool. Oh, so
The
you
whole
do
movie.
get your 3D. Okay.
He's almost always standing on a wire. Like he's every fucking conversation
Really?
he has is like he's like standing on
That's
the wire.
so cool.
He's like,
How is Ben Kingsley? I'm a
he's
big
great.
fan.
He's great because he plays like a Czech guy, I think.
Yeah.
But he has like a very, very poor French. And they're in France. And before he goes to America the first time, everyone's kind of speaking French. And it's kind of like, like in a Quentin Tarantino movie, like in Inglourious Bastards, he's like, do you mind if we have this conversation in English? I'm trying to work on my English. That's like it's kind of a cop-out so that you can make a movie for American audiences, but still kind of keep it realistic.
Yeah.
They did that in this, but it was for good reason, because in real life, this is what happened.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he was like, he wanted to have conversations with people in English when they're all French. But this was funny because this guy, his mentor was Ben Kingsley.
Oh, that who he was?
Yeah,
okay. Cool.
He's like kind of an odd mentor, but he's like this Czech.
Yeah.
He's like this angry Czech guy, and he speaks broken French, and he speaks broken English.
right?
Yeah. So he's like,
I noticed that from the trailer. I was
wonder if he even speaks Czech that well.
Such a great actor, Ben.
Yeah,
Kingsley.
he is amazing. Talk about some range, and he is not typecast.
No,
at all.
yeah, not at all. And Selfless, a very okay movie, very safe movie for Ryan Reynolds, but he's the guy that he
took over.
it's pretty much like he does the Total Recall to get into Ryan Reynolds' body.
Yeah.
And he plays like this tough New Yorker kind of builder, and he has like a good 10 minutes of the movie, and it's just great acting, man. And I would think that I was thinking about him, and all these lines on paper sound kind of stupid. They really do.
Yeah.
But by him, great.
You know what the funny thing is, and just talking about acting in general, because I was watching the behind the scenes, like just B-roll, or not B-roll, behind the scenes definitely footage of Ben Kingsley act in The Walk. And acting in general is not about being incredibly realistic. There's a couple actors that get away with that, like there is no difference between who we were talking about him earlier.
Oh,
What's his name?
Jeff Daniels.
No, from Jurassic Park. He's also
Goldblum?
Goldblum. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
difference between Goldblum on screen or off screen. That's him. He just talks that way. And same thing with Christopher Walken. He's like,
Yeah.
2 mice and a
Damn
bucket.
gooks, got the hands on it. It's your birthright.
He sounds like that all the time. But anyways, there's a couple exceptions like that. But for most actors, acting is really about understanding the relationship between you and the camera. Wherever the camera is, if you can create a performance that plays to that spot, then you're fine. And you're good. And that's what Ben Kingsley does. I don't think he's like this astounding performer. I don't think he would be that amazing on stage if we watched him like in a Broadway play.
Sure.
But he knows how to perform to a camera. And the reason why I say that is when I was watching the B-roll stuff, there was like this scene where he's like chases Joseph Gordon-Levitt with a shovel, and he's like, "Oh, get that back here!" And he's like, "Kiss the touffee!" And he's got a cigar, and he sees like Levitt is like juggling all of a sudden last second, and he kind of gets all surprised, and he's holding the shovel, and he's like, "Whoa," And you watch that performance not from the tiny scope of where the lens is placed, but from this behind the scenes camera. You're like, it's like cheesy ass acting. It looks dumb. He's like, what the,
right.
For you audience members, I'm bobbing my head like it's basically like watching Night at the Roxbury. It's like, but he's so good, especially in that scene. When I saw the movie, the particular scene that I remember the behind the scenes footage, it's crazy how acting works that way, So
Funny, man.
But yes, the 3D is, and there was certain shots that were better than others. One of the things that I loved about this is the transitions. Is they did so many cool transitions between like one scene and the next, where the camera was like a fluent.
That's the
flawless
only way
transition.
that movie Draft Day survived, because of the cool camera transition. Everybody thinks that's like a good, okay movie, but I was like, this is boring. Honestly, it's about the draft, but they go into this character and all these cool little cut tos and froms and intos. It really saves the movie, and it can make or break a scene, honestly. So.
And I think that's like camera work and transitions is what makes like Martin Scorsese films, because they're like long, epic movies, and they would be very boring with the traditional style.
You know,
he loves.
That's why I like that new. Well, I wouldn't say new, but newly famous Inarritu director. He made Birdman and the new Revenant, and he's slowly becoming the master of the long shot.
Yeah.
And that's why, because nobody's really seen it. It doesn't happen in hardly any movies, you know?
Spielberg does it all the time, but he hides it. You don't even notice it's happening.
That's what I'm saying. It's like really in your face, and that's why it works out so well.
He's a very personal filmmaker. You feel there. But those are, most of the time, like Birdman was like a falsified oneer. You know what I mean?
Right.
It like... They found really clever ways to make the angle change. Like they point the camera up towards the sky and put it back down.
Well, they are editing tricks, but still, like even there's still like 2-3 minute scenes before these. That's so many 2-3 minute, like not somebody says a line, cut, next guy's face. Hugh say a line, cut, next guy's face.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty. Regardless of what you think about the plot and all that on the movie, it really is a good example of a great filmmaker. I'm really looking forward to The Revenant, but so I'm thinking Robert Zemeckis kind of does that a lot too. I'm thinking about Back to the Future, and there's like a lot of conversations where it doesn't go back and forth to guys' faces. It's like all one conversation. Well,
yeah, some of the best movies are just very simple like that. Like in Back to the Future, when Doc is like figuring out the problem with the 1.21 gigawatts, and he's like holds up the picture of Einstein, and he's like, why would I be so how could I be so careless, you know? And then going from that to seeing the flyer, like, you know, look at him, Doc, look at what she wrote on the back of this, Doc, and then him going, we're sending you back to the future. That's all one shot.
Do they do that with the walk, or does it look like he takes 2 steps, cut, 2 steps, cut? Or is
there's a lot of longer. There's a
lot of him like walking like a quarter mile on a rope.
Yeah, and they definitely got Joe Levitt to do it. He's doing that shit. It's not. I mean, I'd say there's a couple of times where they had to have somebody. Like, they were really doing... They definitely had tightrope across a lake at one point.
Oh, no kidding.
And it was not CGI. There was no faking that. There was a dude out there. Probably the real Felipe Petit. He's probably out there.
Huh.
You know? But... I don't know, man. There's so many cool things. And here's another interesting thing, is that leading up to the... You know, the execution of the coup is... Is that what it's called? The coup? I think that's what they called it. Like that was the word that they used to, like the group, the
code name.
Yeah.
Of the,
Yeah. So the 2 crews had to go. The 2 groups of accomplices had to go up the towers in the middle of the night.
One on one side, one on the other.
Yeah,
and
then
this is it. We're
but
planning it.
Felipe's side was more intense because. There was they got in there. They had to get to the 111th floor or something with a big crate with all the wires and stuff. Like the other crew had a very light load, and their side was the lesser inhabited tower. So
right.
and also on that tower they had their inside man who can hide them in the floor. This guy Felipe's side, he went up there. And as soon as they got in there, pretty much, and they were like starting to unload shit, a guard came in and like started to take a nap. So it put them behind like 4 hours. The guard was taking a nap for like 4 hours. Oh. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that
what the heck?
Not all the elevators were installed yet. So
Oh,
the way
wow.
that Felipe and his
What
accomplice.
is the timeline for this? What is this in the 90s?
No, this
This
was
is 80s.
1974.
It was in the 70s?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when the towers went up. They went up in 74.
Oh, that's right. You were saying, yeah. So it ends in 74. So it's really starting in the 60s.
68.
This whole wow. That's interesting.
So he was only 17 when he plotted this. He was like, "I'm going to hang a high wire." He's like,
Really?
You're not even done being a man yet. You're not
You
even
know,
through
that's cool.
puberty."
I mean, like that's the thing. He's still in his dream,
But
generation.
that was, you know, I hate to have golden age thinking, but I still feel that like the 60s and 70s was a time to be alive and a time
nobody
to be
really wanted to
adventurous.
hear no.
Yeah, and but there was
Stick
you
it
could,
to the man. I'm gonna
the
walk
world
on
was
this
so
wire.
much bigger then. You could get away with more, and you could have a plan or ambitions and go and achieve them. Now you're just kind of confined to Facebook. You know, that was kind of
Sad but
narrow,
true.
but no. The interesting thing is that the accomplice that was with him, he was with two other people. One guy bailed right away when the guard showed up, but the guy who was with him was like he gets scared of heights. He said he panics when he steps on a step stool.
That's
So
funny.
they had to hide from the guard, and they slid under this tarp, only to realize that they were in an empty elevator shaft, and there was just one I-beam for them to sit on. So they were sitting. That's why, like, another thing, which is a true part of the story. This is not made up for the fact of 3D, but it totally complemented the 3D. Is that they were like, this guy who's like afraid of heights is this in an elevator shaft that goes down 100. He's basically on the tightrope. He's like looking down, and oh man, it's just great. There's a lot of good one-liners in there, and they're not cheesy. But I
I'm
don't
really
know.
interested.
In closing with
I
the
can't
walk,
wait to see
it's
that.
go see it as 3D. Do not see it at home. Do not, for the love of God, watch this on your phone. What the fuck are you doing if you watch a movie on your phone? By the way, like unless you were
unless you're watching Knock Knock.
unless you're watching. Is that our segue?
Well, because that's how I watched it.
Watch it on your phone, huh?
Well, it's not available a lot. It's in very select theaters. There's only one in our whole freaking 50-mile radius.
Yeah,
And we're in Phoenix.
I don't blame you because we drove. You would have had to drive a long way. To go
Yeah,
see
it was
that
the same
movie.
price as a ticket. I mean, it wasn't in 3D or anything. I ain't missing nothing. But yeah, let me begin with Knock Knock. Eli Roth, synopsis. Devoted husband, father, Keanu Reeves. His family go out for like a vacation, and he's got to work at home. He's like an architect or something. And these two like hot chicks, one being Eli Roth's like real life wife. You can also see her in The Green Inferno. They come in and they're very kind of slutty, and pretty much they get him into a threesome. And then it turns out, like, the next day, guess what? They're, like, sadistic freaking freaks. And they want to ruin his life and show him that he's wrong for wanting a threesome, which is pretty much, like, in every guy's bucket list or suck it list, as it's known.
Suck it list. That's hilarious.
But when you're a devoted husband, like, hey, you waive that right? It's just kind of like a game. They call it cat and mouse, but let me tell you something. Don't go fucking watch this movie. Because it is the worst acting I have ever seen from Keanu Reeves.
Really?
I cannot begin to tell you how hard... I don't remember it's been this long where I've been so disappointed with a movie that, for me, this is really tough. Because I don't walk out of movies. But I've never... If it wasn't for this... I would have just turned it off, honestly.
Aren't you like an Eli Roth fan?
I am an Eli Roth fan.
So that was like a double whammy.
It's a double
on
whammy.
you.
Like, this guy in 2012, 2010, was named by Quentin Tarantino like the new king of horror. This isn't even a horror movie, really. It probably does fall in that genre, but barely.
Is it just a thriller? It really just falls into thriller?
Yes, yeah. What's really weird about it is that It's like all in the Hollywood Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Under filming locations, it says Chile.
Yeah, I
Isn't
saw.
that weird?
I was watching the behind the scenes or stuff of this, and there was translators everywhere.
Yeah.
So I feel like Eli Roth had to go out of his way to fund this movie, so he couldn't shoot it in the Hollywood Hills. It would have cost too much.
I'm wondering if, because like I was watching it, like you get the little production cards in the beginning of every film. There's like 6 of them, man. And I'm wondering if like that was the only way he could get it done, as if he filmed it at one of these production companies.
Do you think
overseas.
he grindhoused it and just it back to back with the Green Inferno? Maybe he shot because he shot in Chile for the Green Inferno too, right?
Perhaps, and plus his wife was already there. Or maybe I'm wondering if like it was so half-assed, this movie, man. I haven't had such distaste for acting. It was like a cold table read for people that don't know. When you get hired to do a movie, a lot of times, like you'll have the director and everybody that has lines in the movie sit down. You'll read through the whole script, and a lot of times you don't really act. You just kind of read it out so you understand what's going on. That's why they call it a cold read.
I hear that Jack Nicholson is the king of table reads. Like he sounds the same at a table read than he's on the day of shooting.
Some people are into it,
I get into it,
like method actors specifically. If fucking Keanu Reeves is no goddamn method actor, I'll tell you what. I was such a fan of Point Break. I love The Matrix. I even like Speed. I always thought that he was never gonna be like a award-winning actor, but by now he should know what to do to carry a conversation.
Yeah.
By the way, this movie has, and we were complaining about this for The Green Inferno, the setup time for this movie, it's an hour and 50 minutes long. It takes 50 minutes for something to happen.
Really?
And it's just all set up like monologues, dialogues, freaking fire logs. Like, holy shit. They were like pointing out like props and people's deformities and conversations that would, like, to me and you would be like very obvious, like, oh, this will come up later, second, third act.
Yeah.
But it's all the way, like, the second act is like still part of it. And I thought that this was gonna be Eli Roth. Like, I really thought without spoiling there's one on-screen death. And it's by way of knockout. That I was like, you're Eli Roth. Chop off this guy's head.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
Not poke him with a stick and have him fall down. And like, I thought like, oh, he must not be dead, because like Eli Roth would have like broke all of his fingers and like made him call his mom and like shit in his hair or something like that.
By the way, this was a remake of a 1977 movie called
Death Game. The Seduction of Death Game, I think. And fun fact is that one of the actresses is in the movie, like a little cameo, and she produces the movie too. The only good thing I could say is that the actresses in this movie they did their job, but the plot and Keanu Reeves and
I gotta say that, I mean, I'm not one to talk because I haven't seen it, but I can just assume from the material I've seen and seeing Green Inferno, like, I'm just not a big fan of Eli Roth.
I really think...
I think he's slipping.
He definitely dropped the ball with Knock Knock, man.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with the Green Inferno, you get your Eli Roth fix within the first hour. You're seeing a guy chop... You see Eli Roth, you see Wes Craven, you see all these people in the horror genre, and you know you're going to get your fix of this filmmaker. Does not happen in Knock Knock. In the preview, it's showing him pretty much like in a sex scene, which is really important for a movie. Now that we're all adults and we don't watch freaking movies just to fast forward and pause and slow motion it. A sex scene really means something in a movie. It shows you what this character is.
Especially in this particular film.
I thought an Eli Roth would really like show me something. Show me like a sex scene that you would remember pretty much. Something. Robert Rodriguez is probably like the best one because in Desperado he shows a pretty explicit like lovemaking scene between Antonio Banderas and Selma Hayek. But what he's doing is he's showing you that this is like our hero. He's a strong lovemaker. He actually loves this character. And then like the next scene, it shows like the bad guy, and he's a very weak lovemaker, and you could tell like this is his personality. He just doesn't give a shit about nothing. They had a chance in this movie to, from what it looked like, was gonna be something that would blow you away, like either with that or with how sadistic these girls would be, and it just was the flattest. Besides like the names, you know, it is a B movie, man. It is like it sounds so flat. The dialogue in this movie, especially on Keanu Reeves' part, where I couldn't believe, I was beside myself. I was like, "Is this really a movie?" Like,
Yeah.
It sounded like he was just reading it off a card.
Ugh.
It's bad. I want my money back. Like, honestly.
You just downloaded it on your phone. At least you didn't have to drive to see that.
I
'cause
know,
that would've
I'm
hurt.
glad. Yeah, that was nuts.
Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes, because I gotta say this, because I don't know if we really talked about Rotten Tomatoes in conjunction with this show, but not really into it.
Nah,
I think that there's
I
a
don't really
bunch of
follow it
trolls
because
on there.
I've seen a lot of bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it'll be a movie that I
Exactly,
love.
yeah.
But you know, a lot of times they're pretty good with shitty movies.
That's
like,
what I was gonna say. Is that in the case of this type of scenario, like if we know and we agree that there's a terrible movie out there, like I want to see what people have to say and what the percentage it gets on Rotten Tomatoes, and it got a 33%. It got a.
I can't believe it got that much.
It's actually.
Dude, it is terrible.
Tomato meter. This is goofy, but
the sex scene in this movie is just you don't really see anything. It happens so fast. Half of it's in like a steamy shower to where it's like PG-13 James Bond Skyfall like quality. And it's like 10 seconds long, and I was like, this is what people are coming to see for Eli Roth film. Boobs and gore.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like, and that's what he flat out said when he was making Hostel. He was like, that's what you need to make a good horror movie. And, you know, I don't know if I agree with that, but that's definitely what our society expects. And if you're going to be a filmmaker in horror, you need to have it. And you need to do it better than the last guy. Better than yourself, for sure. Like, Hostel was such a good movie for me. I'm not really into the torture. I really don't like any of the Saws, but the first one, because that was like a mystery. But I loved Hostel, the first one. It's a story of just people being debased, and then a revenge, great revenge final act.
yeah.
I love that, but not what the hell did I just watch? Like, honestly.
Someone's review says all foreplay and no, well, climax.
I would agree with that for sure. It just seemed like this was like a student film. Like, it wasn't any better quality. It was.
I'm just not, and I gotta have. I'm not like a veteran director or anything, but I gotta say, from what I saw in the behind the scenes of Eli Roth
you're
coming
a veteran
around,
watcher though.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
watching him direct though, I'm
Yeah.
like, you see, that's it. That's your direction. Like, I feel
It
like
really
you can
felt
get-
like this was made up of like first takes. Like, great. And
Yeah.
like Keanu Reeves maybe was like, oh, I wasn't actually acting.
I was just getting warmed up.
I don't know what the heck happened there, but if you end up I'm sure like Netflix might get this for cheap or something. But if you do happen to like catch a little bit of this movie, the first 50 minutes is like a dialogue between him and these girls that stop on his door in the middle of the rain, and they're talking about like their life, and he's like, Yeah, I was also a DJ. That was like 10 years ago, though. That was the acting. Like, right there. That was a really good impression. Like, it sounds like he was reading it off the script.
Ugh.
It was so hard. And, like, you could tell like, these new actresses were really trying hard. One was, I think her name was Anna. She was, like, pretty hot, in my opinion. But she has an accent. She's from... I'm trying to think of the country. Belize or something.
Belize?
Who knows? I don't know. But she has like a really thick accent, and she's a better. They stole the show from Keanu. That's for sure. These two off the street actresses, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I expected better, and they torture him like a little bit, if you can call it that, and his way of dealing with torture is so flat and like. Please, no. Like, it's so bad. It was like taking your family on Christmas morning and sitting through Schindler's List. You just feel guilty watching it. Like,
actually, I got
honestly.
you beat there. I took my family to see, unknowingly, because, I mean, I just was being a retard that day for Christmas, but I took my family to see... The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah.
And I had my little brothers that were like 10 and 12.
Why is he snorting coke off that girl's butt?
And they didn't even know what it meant. Like most of the scenes they didn't understand. And my mom was like, "Look, because it was me
That's
on the
a
right
3-hour
side."
Movie too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not only was
man.
it long, but it was ridiculous. But I was on the far side, and my mom and my stepdad were on the other side.
Happy birthday, Jesus.
Yeah, they were like looking over at me like, "What the fuck did you just bring us to?" And yeah, so moral of that story, I don't ever get to pick movies anymore.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I think the Christmas before that, we did a movie at home. Because the Christmas before that, they lived in Wisconsin, and we got like a Netflix movie, and I picked
50
Killer
Shades of
Joe.
Grey. Oh, Killer Joe!
It was so bad.
I swear to God, like every time somebody asks me, like, do you want a breast or a leg? I go wing. Just from that movie.
Oh my
Juno
God.
Temple, she's like on my top 5 hottie list.
You
for
know,
sure.
I actually like that movie. As much as it distracted me because
You know, but that's
I had
like a
my
movie,
family
kind
around.
of like Knock Knock. It's a thriller. It's very dialogue driven.
Mhm.
It almost all the way, I would say, just about. There is like nudity placed to show you these characters they're vulgar and it's gritty, and they pulled it off, you know?
Yeah.
And they're all in a trailer, the whole freaking movie.
Yeah.
And in this movie, they're in a house the whole movie, and it's very similar to how the characters should interact with each other. The distaste, the distrust, and I've never wanted 2 hours of my life back more. I like a lot of movies that people don't like. I love comic book movies. Stupid plots, awesome to watch, you know.
But here's the problem. I think that Eli Roth is like suffering from like just he watches way too many.
I think he just wants to recreate all the movies he loved as a kid. And, but the last two are not better than the originals. It's like the weird thing.
I think it should. I mean,
just have an original idea. Hostel was an original idea.
I'm all for like believing in your project, but like.
Well,
if
you
had
your shot with freaking Green Inferno. Knock is, dude. What are you doing?
How many companies? I think he had 1 million companies to produce both of those movies.
Probably. So, you know what's funny is the cool thing about it, because they're only 2 weeks apart. These movies. Mm-hmm. The guy that gets chopped up terribly is in Knock Knock, and I was like, oh, he's all right.
That's funny.
Plays a friend zone kind of character again.
Oh.
Well, ish. Just like a nice, too nice to be, you know what I mean? And I was like, hey, that's the guy. That's no eyeballs, no tongue, no arms, no legs, man. There we go.
That is funny.
But I didn't think that I could see this bad of acting from Keanu Reeves.
That's sad. You know what movie I loved with Keanu Reeves was The Devil's Advocate.
I love that. He can act, dude. He can act.
Oh, yeah.
And it was either Eli Roth doing, like, practice takes and making them into the final cut for lack of budget, or Keanu Reeves just said, screw it, or there's just, like, no chemistry whatsoever.
Maybe Keanu Reeves was just happened to be in Chile.
I think Keanu Reeves is probably just a fan of Eli Roth and wanted to be a part of a movie, which is pretty much all Bruce Willis does nowadays. But, you know...
Bruce Willis is just fans of people and he wants to be in a movie?
Well, yeah, I think he was in Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah.
He's doing what he wants to do for fun now, you know? You got plenty of Die Hard money. I can do whatever I want now.
He's still making
He's in the new Rock the Casbah, you know? I mean, at this point, he's his own agent. Mm-hmm. Like, what's going to destroy his career? Like, if he's out, he's 70 years old. Like, who cares?
You know what I want to see? This is, like, totally left field. Just because I think there's not really much else we can say about Knock Knock.
Dude, just don't go watch it. Just let me be your guinea pig and tell you that if you watch, it's very much like the Death Game. It's like to the ending where the girls are like holding hands and skipping and like freaking.
Yeah. So, in closing this show, because I'm pretty sure that we could just easily lose a track of time and talk about like 50,000 movies.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's why we started this show. Another reason. But go see The Walk. See it in 3D. Go see... Don't go see Knock Knock.
See Knock Knock.
Watch Death.
I would not pay for it at all. Like, spend 2 hours seeing something else.
Yeah,
please.
wait till it comes out on Netflix to just laugh about it.
Yeah, like that's a good like
it'll
drinking
be on Netflix
game.
next
Anytime
week.
Keanu Reeves says something stupid, take a drink. Like that's really the only positive thing I can see coming out of this.
That's great. That's a great comment to add to it. And that's all I gotta say. I mean,
ooh, let me do, because if you do watch Knock Knock, this is like the line that people are saying. So can I do the little soundbite at the end?
Do it.
It's free pizza!
I hope you all liked this episode of Flick of the Week. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. Next week, we're talking about Crimson Peak and Bridge of Spies. Spielberg. Until then, you know what to do.